Lowry. Kyle Lowry is currently in the conversation for the greatest Raptor of all time, along with legends like Chris Bosh and Mr. Air Canada himself, Vince Carter. I'm not here to discuss his legacy. Maybe that'll be it for a later video. Instead, I'm here to discuss what Kyle Lowry brings every night in terms of his skill set on both ends of the court. Welcome to Six Playbook. If it's your first time here, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up as well. During this strange off season, I'll be doing player profiles on all the Raptors players. As you may have guessed by the title or the thumbnail in this video, today we'll be discussing Kyle Lowry. You can let me know in the comment sections below who you would like to see in the next video. So let's get into it. At 34 years old, 6 feet tall and 196 pounds, Kyle Lowry just came off one of the best seasons of his career. After Kawhi left Toronto last summer, a lot of people had the Raptors out of the playoff picture for the 2020 season, but the Raptors were able to prove the doubters wrong, and one of the big reasons why they were able to do this was the Raptors' 6-time All-Star, Kyle Lowry. When examining Kyle Lowry's offensive game, the first and probably most important thing to look at would be his three-point shot. He attempted just under 14 field goals per game this year, and over 50% of those came from the three-point line, where he shot a solid 35% on 8 attempts per game. One of Lowry's favorite ways of getting the three-point shot is in transition or semi-transition. He loves to take the shot early in the shot clock when the defense isn't quite set up yet, or if the defender is not picking him up high enough. Another way he likes to set up the three-point shot is with a pick and roll. If the opposing big man drops low, like in this case where the defender leaves him with enough daylight, Lowry will not hesitate to fire from 3. And when the primary ball defender is chasing him hard, he likes to use this little snake dribble move to find the open spot on the three-point line and let it rip. And lastly, on his three-point shot, Lowry likes to use the step back to create just enough space between him and his defender to let that 3 fly. To stop Lowry's three-point shot, typically defenses will play him a little closer and pick him up higher than the three-point line, and Lowry uses this to his advantage. You see, Lowry isn't as athletic as other all-star point guards in the NBA, like a Dame Lillard or Westbrook, but he does have a decent first step, and once he gets in the lane, he's great at using his body to throw the defense off balance before adjusting to make layups. He's also pretty shifty, using a lot of hesitation moves to keep his defense off balance while using the momentum against them because they have to keep changing gears to keep up with him. The hezzy move is on full display here as he comes off the pick and roll and lets the defender get in front of him before using the hezzy to discard the defender and throwing off this beautiful floater and then getting the foul. This is just beautiful. I can watch this play over and over again. Here, his first step gets him an advantage on this much taller defender, and once he gets in the lane, he's able to use his shoulder to bump the defender out of the picture before pivoting on that right foot and extending for the layup. Like with his three-point shot, Lowry loves to attack in transition and semi-transition. If the defense has their back turned to him, Lowry will gladly drive it to the rim and get the easy layup. And when the defense is good and doesn't allow Lowry to get to the rim, he has a surprisingly good mid-range game that's not very common in today's NBA. Lowry can create space with that step back that I mentioned earlier. He also has a really good floater game that he's able to release over the outstretched hands of elite shot blockers. That lack of speed and athleticism does leave Lowry in awkward positions sometimes. When he gets in the lane and isn't able to get his defender out of the way using his body, typically those are situations where you see him get blocked. If he has better lift on some of these plays, he'll be able to finish, and his lack of speed sometimes does make it easier for big men to get back in the picture and block his shot or contest into a miss. An underrated part of Kyle Lowry's game is the ability to draw fouls and get to the free throw line. He's great at creating contact, as I mentioned earlier, but he's also really good at anticipating contact as well. When he sees his defender about to reach or just in bad defensive position, he's able to take advantage by starting his upward shooting motion and forcing the referees to make a call. This is part of why he was able to get to the free throw line almost 6 times per game last year. Lowry is also a really good passer, leading the Raptors in assists last year with almost 7.5 a game. In transition, Lowry is always keeping his head up, hunting for mismatches or looking for teammates running to open spots in the defense, and he's always willing to make risky passes that could end up in layups. They don't always work, but it's worth the risk as they usually lead to open layups. Those early transition attacks that we just covered also lead to assists for Lowry as well. His aggression early in the shot clock forces the entire defense into the paint on this play and is able to find trailing teammates for easy buckets. Majority of Lowry's assists came out of the pick and roll last year, where he seems to have mastered most of the reads, if not every single one of them. When opposing bigs try to stay in front of him, he'll easily hit Ibaka or Gasol for the 3. When the Raptors' big men are diving to the rim, Lowry's pretty slick with the pocket pass. Even when the window is tight or almost non-existent like here, he can barely see Boucher because he's surrounded by opposing big men, but he knows where Boucher should be and trusts his teammates, so he places a blind pass and Boucher is able to benefit from the bucket and the foul. Another read that Lowry has mastered is the kick out when a third defender comes into play. This time, the help defender comes from the strong side, and Lowry quickly recognizes it and snaps the ball to Freddie. While he misses it, this is a pretty good look, and Lowry is consistent with the read. This time he finds OG in the corner off a similar action. Lowry is also really good at finding cutters once he gets into the paint. And who can forget this absolute dime? Major credit to OG for hitting the shot with so little time left on the clock, but the degree of difficulty on this pass is incredible. With the 7'6" tackle fall towering over him and waving his arms, Lowry is still able to spot OG on the opposite side of the floor and is able to place this pass in the perfect spot for OG to catch and release. This pass is simply incredible. Remember what I said about non-existent windows? Sometimes it doesn't work out. He'll try to make a pass that isn't there, and those risky passes are risky for a reason. Sometimes they result in turnovers and you live with the results, because clearly Lowry's trying to create something. And when you look at the numbers, you'll see that Lowry is averaging over 3 turnovers per game, which looks a little troubling, but when you remember that guys like LeBron James and Ben Simmons average over 3 turnovers per game as well, those numbers don't look half bad anymore. Even though Lowry's lack of quickness leaves him open to getting blown by sometimes by quicker players, and his size doesn't let him offer much rim protection, he's still a very capable defender, always active and always knows his rotation. And of course, a Kyle Lowry video would be incomplete without talking about his charges. This guy is always watching and waiting for the right moment when the offensive player has picked up too much speed and just can't stop and is barreling out of control. And then he's always willing to put his body in the line to get that charge call. And sometimes it's a bit of acting, but if you're not acting, you're not trying hard enough in my opinion. Going into year 15, Lowry is an experienced vet and is the emotional leader on this Raptors team, and it's no surprise that Raptors fans love him so much. And maybe one day soon we'll be seeing his jersey retired in the rafters, and we all know he deserves it. Hopefully that day isn't soon. If you like what you saw in this video, please give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well. Throughout the off seasons, as I mentioned, I'll be doing other player breakdowns, so please let me know in the comments who you'd like to see next. And until next time, stay positive and keep testing negative. From 6 Playbook, have a great day.